Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me to episode number 70. And as I mentioned last time, this is going to be the last session that I am hosting. Actually, I think I said last time that last time was the last one. But I had to make sure that the person that is going to replace me in this role is ready and is shaved and all clean up. And I want to welcome Rob. Hi, Rob.
Hey, hi, Eitan. Yeah, I don't know about shaved and ready, but we do what we can. So at
Yeah.
least I feel like I have the facial hair for this role. So
Well,
you know,
the lower part of
we
it, you
wanted
mean?
to have,
You have some extra
yeah, we
here.
wanted to have, yeah, got some level of consistency, right?
Yeah.
So you
So,
know, we'll
so
debate about whether we get the top part, you know, cleaned up or not. But I
yeah.
mean, I think that's coming more naturally on its own anyway. So
So let's make it official, Rob. I'll switch side with you, and now you're hosting.
sweet.
Amazing effects, I know.
Wow, look at that transition.
And now you're
Nice.
hosting, and yeah, I have this on the top. You will have it next time, maybe.
Woohoo! We hope. We'll see if we get all the logistics worked out, but it'll be fun.
Yeah. So Rob, let's talk about this change. It's more than just a host change. We are going to change something. You are going to change some things with the platforms and cadence. So
Yeah, we think that we have kind of a couple of thought leadership things going on with a podcast, and so this has always been a great place to get kind of good technical how-to information, and kind of thinking it makes sense to maybe tie some of these things together a little bit. So, talking through as changes in AppScan happen, as things are coming, hopefully being able to show some of those kind of capabilities, give people a little more insight into not just how to do things, but why it matters, right?
mhm.
What's the benefit of it, and what can it do, for organizations that way, and hopefully have a nicer kind of drumbeat to it. I think we're going to change the cadence up a little bit to where we look at this, maybe twice a month, that kind of thing, to really be able to hone in on some of those capability areas and be able to tee those up a little bit better. So we're excited about what's coming. It should be pretty good.
Yeah, and we're making it a more cohesive platform where in one you're talking with Colin and Chris and a guest about
Exactly.
the big items, the high level items, and then you go down and dirty in this YouTube sessions.
Yeah, yeah. And if you've been with us since the beginning, you may remember that we had kind of an episode kind of in the early days of AppScan Tuesdays where we brought the Paranoia hosts on and talked through some of the things that were going on in the podcast and this bit. So it's good to have those worlds coming together.
Oh, yep. And speaking about the podcast, do you want to share anything about the next episode?
Yeah, so for our, in fact, we just recorded our episode this morning, which I'm really excited about. It'll release later this week. But yeah, we talked to good friend of ours, Michael Owens, who's a BISO over at Equifax, but is also running a cybersecurity agency with the government agencies, looking at federal government, state government, local government implications for cyber. And he's got a really cool announcement that I'll let him talk to on the podcast and some information around it. But it was a great discussion on things like election security, cyber, and hitting the intersection with the public and policy management and all those kinds of things. And so lots of interesting areas. We all knew, what happened with the last election and all of the questions around that. And so integrity of elections, election security, looking at all the infrastructure that's connected to that. Really interesting topic that I think folks are going to enjoy. So
Cool.
should be fun.
And I'll remind Rob to put the link to the podcast below in the description here.
Yes, we will. Yes, it is Buzzsprout. It was appscan.buzzsprout.com. You
Yeah.
can always find us over there. But yes, we will put the link in down
Cool.
there.
Cool. And by the way, Rob and I will include a link to the video that he mentioned. Now it's over my head. So oops, this side. A
Ooh,
link here now to the previous session that we did.
nice. Yeah, I'll have
Now,
to get used to which way to point.
yeah, Rob, we discussed that we are going to talk a little bit about source code scanning versus compiled code scanning,
Yes, absolutely.
especially with the recent release that I don't know if you mentioned in the podcast already. I think that Chris shared or Florian shared about this
Hmm.
yesterday or the day before. Well, today's Monday. So last week we've released support for Dart with static analysis, and we added support for source code scanning for Java. Oh, we could do
Nice.
bytecode, now source code. In very high level, the difference is source code is so much faster. I mean, blazingly fast. The downside is you pay with the accuracy. Bytecode scanning will be much more accurate. It does all the data flow analysis. But, Rob, you and I discussed it in the past. Different stages, you want to use different things. If you want to go fast,
Absolutely.
it's part of the pipeline. Quick, you'll do source code scanning. If you have time to do more thorough, you'll go data flow. Depends on your build.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing I love about that too is, we're not necessarily dictating to somebody when they want to do that, right? We're not, limiting policies or changing rule sets or intentionally watering down what we scan for to go faster. Instead, we're trying to open up the possibility for people to make trade-off decisions that are based on what they need, how fast they want to go, what the business is requiring in their end. And I think that's a much better model. We let you decide the trade-offs versus us telling you what they have to be.
Yeah, and you can try both of them and then decide what works for you in every given time.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can use them at different parts of a pipeline, right?
Definitely.
So if I'm coding in my IDE, I may just want to do the simple super fast source scan just as a sanity check. But as I get later on down, I start doing integrations, start running some of my automated builds, doing deployments into a test environment. That's when some of that compiled code scanning might come into play, or being able to just leverage any number of other options.
Yeah, I guess, and it depends on the speed that you need and
Exactly.
how many builds you run a day or whatever. So I will go, and it's my last time. So I'll do a demo of something that is not yet out. It's going to be out by the next time you have this session, Rob. So I don't know if it's next week or the week after. But let me share a little bit on ASOC. So this is my ASOC environment. And what I want to show is, first of all, if we go to recent updates, you can see that we've added support for scanning for Dart, and that includes, by the way, Flutter, and support for scanning for Java, source code scanning, as I mentioned. Now, the part that is not yet available is this. This is a new version of AppScan Go. AppScan Go is the GUI utility that we use for scanning source code for configuring or scanning. Usually it's mostly for configuring, and then you take the configuration and put it in your pipeline. But what's nice here with this model is that I will browse to, I have here Altoro, so Altoro J, and I'll go to the source code. And it's my Java project, so I can tell, as you can see here, I can scan for all security issues or only those that are found in the third party, the open source components that I have in my application. This hadn't changed. We had it in the past. What has changed is here. By default, when we scan application that is written in Java or .NET or C or C++, we will want to do the bytecode scanning. But in this case, I don't want to do the bytecode scanning. I want to do the source code scanning. So I'm telling it only source code files for all languages. If I do this, it will search for the compiled Java. It will still take JavaScript files or Python or whatever. But for those languages that I mentioned that are written here, I need to explicitly say use source code only. Continue. It will go quickly, very fast. It found all the files. I can see all the files here that were detected. And all I need to do now, press continue. This step is usually where I would recommend for DevOps engineers and an organization that want to use it in the pipeline to stop. Take the configuration and put that configuration in their pipeline, in their source code repository, so it will be taken as part of the pipeline. And I think we showed it in previous sessions. But what we want to do now to complete this step is just to run a scan. So I've already logged in with this AppScan Go. I provided the key and secret. It just it will connect to ASOC. It will then allow me, assuming I didn't last session, it will connect to ASOC, and here it asks me which applications I want to scan. So I will go to, I have a demo Eitan probably here. Sorry for this mess, but Eitan's demo app. I will call it source code scanning Alt-RJ. And that's it. This is what Rob mentioned earlier, that we can go deep or thorough. I can run it as a personal scan, which means that I'm not going to contaminate the application with all the vulnerabilities that are found. I'll keep it sandbox only to myself. I can work on it. Or I'm already, if I'm not picking this, I will already influence the compliance of the application. I don't want to get an email here, and initiate a scan. That's it. I'm done. Everything here will go extremely fast. You see the IRX was prepared and it's being uploaded now. So like in any good cooking show, I will jump directly to the results of the scan. You see the upload was completed. And the results of the scan, and the results of the scans, I can go to all issues. I will filter for only static analysis because I don't care about anything else. I just ran the scan a few minutes before, and I can see the results. So I'll go to SQL injection, for example, that was found, and I can see that it's a different kind of results. It doesn't have the data flow experience that we were showing before when we do bytecode scanning, because it's a different type of scanner. But as I mentioned, this is extremely fast. If we look at the scan itself, the scan took, where is it? 2 minutes and 18 seconds end to end. Wow. So that's what I wanted to show. And the demo itself was also pretty quick. So I'll come back now.
Yeah. But 2 minutes and 18 seconds, not bad.
Not bad for entire Alt-RJ. Usually it takes a little bit longer here.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the important cycle about getting feedback in context, right? We talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
That if I can make changes and then I can get insight into those changes quickly, I can do something about it at that point. I can start to ask a question, or I can look at remediation efforts, or, have that insight versus waiting a few hours or a day or two as it works its way through a pipeline, that kind of thing. So context is everything.
Which is why we love code sweep also, definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
I forgot to show one thing. As I mentioned, the update to AppScan Go will come in a week or two, but you can already use it through the command line. So as I didn't show it, you can go to the documentation and see the command line switch, which I believe is -sco source code only, but you can find it.
There you go. That's very cool.
So, Rob, thanks for having me on your show.
Good deal. Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, and your last live demo didn't blow up in your face, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Right?
It is funny to say live when we record it ahead, but yeah, I didn't record the demo before we had this session, so that went well.
Okay. Cool. Yes. That's all good stuff, though. But yes, and hopefully people were catching, the thing I think is awesome too is showing the nature of the releases, and just notice how many of them are this year and recent. So we're constantly making improvements, and I think that's a good thing. And I would say to those that are out there, if there's topics you want us to cover, if there's things you want us to talk about, let us know. Feedback is always welcome. So just like any good
comments, put them in the comments below. We had some good comments that led to two sessions that I had with Ravi, and a session that I had with Peter. So you have good people to come on the show with you, Rob. So.
Yeah, we're always interested in that one. So be good.
Cool.
Good. Yes.
Thanks, Rob. I'll be keeping an eye on this channel for sure.
Yeah. We'll have some fun with it. This should be good. Looking forward to it.
Thanks,
Rob.
Rob.
I'll get a better background. You bet.
Bye-bye.
Bye.